Hello and welcome back to my garage. Today we're still working on the new Mini. New Mini. No, it's the new Mini that's 20 years old. Time flies. We're going to do some things that already has been discussed in the introduction video. We have the parts here for the front brakes. Not that the pads itself were worn, but the rotors were past their minimum. So we're going to replace those. And in this case we use OEM parts or ATA. We use ATE, ATE, how we call it, ATA. I don't use this brand very often. The reason is it's most of the time more expensive than good aftermarket ones. But in this case these were cheaper even. Well, not for, let's say, the budget of course were cheaper, but for a good renowned brand these were the cheapest ones. So they were cheaper than Delphi or Zimmerman or other brands I like to use. So yeah, that's why we use ATA. So this is OEM or factory spec parts. So the owner should be happy with that, I think. Here we have of course the pads itself. Well, they're just the stock ATA ones. Nothing fancy. The only thing is that the wear contacts, I do believe I did order the wear contacts, but maybe they're somewhere in the box here. If not, then I think I can still reuse the old one. The reason is those old ones aren't worn, because the pads that are there are quite new. But it is just bad practice to use old pads with new rotors. And most of the time rotors are more expensive than pads itself. Well, most of the time what I do as a rule of thumb is if you get a new set, so pads with rotors, then the second time you need brakes, only use pads, and the third time you do a other set. At least that is most of the time what I see, what's needed. Because they're not that expensive anymore, most of the time I do both, but you don't have to. If the rotors are worn even and of course are within tolerance, then you can just get some new pads. Nothing fancy for the rest, except for the brand. Of course these are full zinc ones, so the only where the pads are riding will rust, but for the rest it will stay nice and fresh. So that is of course for the eye a good thing, and for the rotor itself also not a bad thing. But other than that, I don't believe these are ceramics. I do think I could have chosen ceramics if I wanted to. Those don't look like ceramics. Ceramics are always more expensive, at least that is what I have seen. So let's enough said, let's get this stuff on the car. Here we have the front brakes. We start with removing this spring thing. Don't bend it. So first of all, we remove this bottom cap. So then we use our 7mm Allen. This is definitely a key you must have. If you have a complete Allen set, this is not in there. 7 is always skipped. So be sure to check if you had that one. So. If you're going to reuse something of this, never do this, because you will destroy your pads and probably your disc. But it saves us a little bit of work. Pushing this piston back. So, all the way back, and now you should see that we can just... Why can we just lift this off? We have to remove the top one also. So let's put it to the side. Never let it hang from the oil line. And as you can see, these aren't that worn. These are also Bosch, by the way. Compare it with a new one. I doubt that we are lucky that we can get it out of there like this. We can't. We have here two bolts, and those are 16mm. So the face is quite rusted. Problem if you have rust between the discs and, well, the hub itself, can get vibration issues because of the uneven surfaces. So it's a bit weird to see this. There is definitely some surface bubbles, so hopefully that doesn't interfere or, well, get us some vibrations in there. I just cannot get that off. Yeah, with a grinder, but I don't like to put a grinder to that. In the worst case scenario, we have to replace this hub. But for now, let's put on some sunscreen. Be sure that you clean the cradle. What I mean is where the pets are riding. What I mostly do is just a little dab of anti-seize on the bolts itself. Not that it is really necessary, but I just like to do that. If you are really worried that these come off, you could also use a little bit of Loctite. And again, these are 16. Did I do something stupid? Sure. Now I must say that I'm really quite sad that they did not put any bolts in here. Even most of the cheaper brands are putting bolts here, or are supplying you with new bolts for this. So yeah, AT, that's definitely a minus. Don't know for sure, but maybe these fit. I did look into my pile of bolts, my bolts bin, but I do not have anything that could fit there. At least not with a sunken head. This is annoying. Well, for now, let's put back a wheel bolt, so at least it stays at its place. You can put a little bit of grease behind here, but I do not think it is necessary right here. And also there are some different philosophies about that. I'm going to put a little bit of anti-seize on these points. Be sure to clean these guide pins and use some silicone paste. I mostly use those stuff of ATA. Sometimes I do behind these ears a little bit of anti-seize. Especially when you get some brake squeal, this is probably something to look into to do that. And like always, I like to put some extra stuff. First of all, it keeps the moisture out, and of course it helps with lubrication. Check if it slides, and it does. So now we can put back this spring thing. Yes, everything is a hammer. Also, what you could do is behind these things a little bit of anti-seize, because as you can hear, these can make some noise. Now, of course, we need to clean this all up and then put back the wheel. But because I need to get to that rubber, this thing over there, for a other video, I'm leaving the wheel off, and I'm probably going to touch this some more, so I'm going to clean that later. So there you have it, how to change the front brakes on, in this case, the Mini Cooper. It's just the same as every other ATA branded system. Nothing too complicated. The only thing, of course, that's annoying, like I have said and have shown, is that that bolt here was missing. That is why the whole disc brake, or the whole disc, is just floating around. It is annoying when placing the wheel back on the car itself. But other than that, it is not really mandatory. Those things can break off. In my case, they were just missing. Yeah, I found it really a shame from a top tier company that they did not include some new bolts for it. The most cheap disc sets I bought those even have some bolts in there. I really think that ATA should put those in there. Other than that, straightforward job, as you have seen. Nothing too complicated about it. So I will keep it at that. So yeah, that's it for today's video. Hopefully you enjoyed it, or at least learned something from it. If you did, please give it a like. And if you want to follow me around, you know what to do. And I will see you next time. Bye.